mods gotten in there as well. And you're good.
All right. So, welcome everybody. First of all, we'll start this tale with a little introduction. Uh, the stones of the Ryokotsu Pass have witnessed countless journeys, each step echoing with tales of merchants, wanderers, and those seeking new beginnings. Here, where weathered dragon bones jut from mountain walls like natural archways, the veil between the mortal realm and the spirit world grows thin. Local guides speak of how the great dragons of old carved this path with their final breaths, creating the only safe passage through the treacherous mountain range that separates the mysterious Yokai lands from the outer world. They say the dragon spirits still linger, their essence mixing with the natural magic of the land to create something different. These days, merchant caravans brave the pass in groups, hiring skilled guards to protect them from both mundane bandits and supernatural threats alike. The journey typically takes 7 days if the weather holds up and the spirits are kind to them. You've joined the Spring Lotus Caravan, a well respected merchant company known for making this dangerous journey. Whether by choice or circumstance, you'll find yourself among their latest group of hired guards and passengers, about to embark on what should be a routine crossing through the Ryokotsu Pass. But there are whispers among the yokai. The spirits are restless. The very mountains seem to hold their breath, waiting. And with that, we'll zoom in on the scene. The Spring Lotus Caravan is comprised of 4 main wagons with various trading goods and other valuables towards the center of the traveling formation. It's kind of like almost like an oval shape. Uh, on either side of them, there are 2 smaller supply wagons that are carrying food and resources to aid in the trek through the mountains. And there's about 15 or so travelers looking for pass. There's 3 merchants that are traveling through with their wares, and there's 2 people who are traveling alone. There's about 6 guards, and there's the caravan master whose name is Masashi, and then there's also a caravan guide whose name is Goro. And the caravans, the wagons. I mean, aren't anything too extravagant. They're just plain old wooden wagons. The 4 main wagons do have like coverings over them that are also made of like pretty sturdy wood, but the smaller supply wagons just have like a cloth kind of thrown over them. So if you guys want to introduce your characters and kind of what you're doing, we're the 3rd day into the travel. It's been pretty boring the first 2 days. Nothing much has happened besides an occasional like random spirit sighting off in the distance, but nothing memorable necessarily. So if, we want to start with Wrath. If you want to introduce your character and what he's doing currently.
Well, Wrath is sitting like with the caravan, just keeping his cloak up. Can't see his face. Just enjoying the ride for now.
Okay. And what is he wearing?
So Wrath is wearing all leather, a full set of armor. If you were to look close enough, on his left pectoral of the leathers, you'll see a purple skull with 2 cross daggers on it. Can't see anything else of it, but on the back, he also has that same exact design embroidered into the backing of his leathers. He's got both of his short swords right on his belt, and he's just, he's got really long black hair that has purple streaks all through it and amethyst eyes.
And what race is he?
He is a drow.
Cool. Um, how is he feeling about the journey so far? Is he taking in the surroundings? Is he kind of just staying recluse, keeping to himself? Has he talked to anyone in the caravan? Has he maybe interacted with the guide or the caravan master?
So he hasn't really said much to anybody at this point. He went up to the merchant, paid to be on this caravan to get over. So that's about as much interaction as he's had with anybody. He's been paying attention, watching everybody's movements, and trying to get a feel for everybody because he doesn't trust anyone.
Okay, cool. So um Wrath is that's how you pronounce it, correct? Just making
Correct.
sure. Okay. So as Wrath is kind of sitting there, uh I'll say he has one of his swords out and he's kind of just checking the edge of the blade, making sure it's as sharp as it needs to be in case anything does happen. A young girl, probably about 16 years old, human girl. She has like a short blonde bob cut almost. She comes up to the back of like there are wagons that are carrying stuff, but there are also wagons for traveling on. So I imagine if he's keeping to himself, he's probably on one of the smaller like travel wagons for himself. So she comes up to the back of the wagon and she kind of peers in as you guys are traveling along the pass. She's like, hey, hey, mister, uh, where, where do you come from? I've never really seen someone who looks like you. I mean, no offense. It's just, I'm just curious.
I come from a place far, far away. A place called Mesobarazan.
Oh, what's it like there?
It's very dark, ran by a spider queen named Lolth.
And as soon as she hears the word spider, she's like, "Oh, I don't think I'd like it there."
Not many do.
Like, "Oh, well, it's nice talking to you. My name is Yumi, by the way." And it's spelled just Yumi.
Well, it's
She's
good to
like,
see you.
"Well, it's nice talking to you. See you later."
Bye.
And she kind of just like runs away from the caravan, very like innocent way. And then we'll cut across from that scene, and we'll go over to um the next character, who is, if you guys can choose between yourselves if you'd like, or I can choose who wants to go first.
Don't
Well,
matter to me.
Jockin is doing what Jockin does best, which is being out front, ahead of the caravan.
So he's just like scouting out ahead,
Yep.
keep an eye out for anything. Okay. Uh, and could you explain your character? We'll introduce him. Uh, what's he wearing?
Well, he's wearing his travel leathers, which is plain Jane, nothing too spectacular, trying to blend in type armor
Okay.
with his two swords, short swords, strapped to his back, along with his bow and arrow, just for that range deterrent.
And
Uh,
what race is he?
he's a halfling.
Okay, cool.
He's about 3 feet tall.
Yeah. So as you're kind of scouting out ahead of the caravan, keep an eye out for anything moving behind the rocks or any odd noises. You hear from oh, we lost someone. Or was that the that was a music bot. You hear from the caravan leader, or I'm sorry, not the caravan leader, the caravan guide. His name is Goro. You hear him talking. He's just telling stories to children, the local children. Um, you hear him say, "You know, kids, you have to listen to your parents." And he's an old man, very like he looks like a very frail man who probably shouldn't be traveling these pass like through this pass, but he moves almost faster than some of the guards do here. He has like a very like spryness to his step. But you hear him like bent over talking to a group of smaller kids, and he's like, "You have to listen to your parents, and you can't wander too far away from the camp on a rainy night, or else the Ameona will whisk you away, and you'll never be seen again." And a couple of the kids run away screaming, and he just lets out like a hearty laugh. Um, and he turns and just keeps like the whole time. This whole scene, you guys are still just marching along more or less. There's like a set pace that you guys have to follow, or you will end up just getting left behind. They will only make stops for emergencies. Um, and then we'll cut over to our last player character, Moros. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us what
Yeah.
you're doing.
You see a humanoid guy chilling. He's got short hair that's coiffed over to the side. He's got a nice looking bold mustache. His hair's black. He's got scale mail on. His skin is like very white, like alabaster white. Um, and he's just kind of sitting there. Well, when they're in motion, he's taking a look at all the surroundings, trying to figure out uh, if there's anything that would need his attention as far as helping passing along, like if anything's dying or if anything's close to death, whether that's nature, animals, humans, what have you. Um, yeah. Otherwise, when they like camp down for the night, he would just be like um, trying to talk to, I guess, the leader about if there is any sort of known areas where there is a bunch of hardships where people might need help.
Okay, so Masashi, I'd say like the night before, you ask him like these questions, and he's like, uh, let me think. And he's a very like stern middle-aged man. He has like a pencil thin mustache. Um, he has just like a short, slick back, gray haircut, but has a slight graying towards the center. He's like, let me think. There is one city I know of. The name of it is the Sukiakari province, or the Moonlight province. They also call it. And I'll put that in chat for spelling and stuff.
Thank you.
uh, he's like, I hear it's a city that the sun never fully comes up. So there might be some people there struggling with that, or maybe I have heard of people going missing there. But I mean, we all are living through hardships, and he kind of like says that with like a slight chuckle, like trying to make a joke, but he's
Yeah.
really not good at joking.
Just above the table, is that's where we're headed? Is
Ye-
through to there?
That will be the first city after the pass. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I would just turn to him and I'm like, I'll give it like a little chuckle after his joke, and I'm like, I see what you did there. I greatly appreciate the advice on that, and I look forward to giving my help wherever needed.
Yeah, and we appreciate you joining to help with the security of the wagon. It's appreciated.
The least I can do.
All right. So then, cutting back to the day after that we're currently going through, as you're walking along the side of one of the wagons, you notice that the wheel is kind of, I don't want to say like falling off because it's hard to put a wheel back on while you guys are moving, but it's you
I didn't
notice
mean
it's
to
a
let you
little
clip
bit.
that.
You notice that the wheel is like a little bit off, and you're like, I should probably go and fix that. And you kind of just like tap it back into place. It straightens out and it's fine. But as you're tapping into place, you hear Masashi talking to the rest of the guards. He's like, "All right, men, we're 3 days into the pass. We're making great pace, and I want to keep it that way. Yusuri, Taka, I want you to swap with Guido and Rin and take the rear guard. Once we're through the pass, we'll all enjoy a feast together, and you guys will have a week off." And you hear the rest of the guards like, "Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I can't wait, man." And that's basically the intro scene. You guys are just walking along. If there's anything that you want to do specifically, you're
Do I
more than
see
free to
anything?
do it. Roll me a perception check.
Where's my perception? Where are you at?
The in skills it's alphabetical, so it should be under nature.
Oh, there we go. I got a 14.
A 14? Okay. So you notice there are cherry blossom like petals that are falling ahead of you guys, but when you look around, there aren't any cherry blossoms on this mountain at all. And you're like, huh, that's kind of
Odd.
weird. And you don't think anything like too terribly of it at first. You're like, that's a little weird, but I'll keep an eye out for anything else.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd be seeing this as well, correct?
Um, yeah, not yet because I imagine you're sitting kind of facing towards the back of the caravan,
Okay.
and this is like ahead. He's a little bit ahead of the group, so you would see it, but I would not yet.
All right.
And then a little bit of time goes by, and you notice again. How do you say your character's name again, Shadow?
Shotgun.
Jockin? Okay. So Jockin notices that the cherry blossoms, it's starting to get a little bit heavier. And again, there's not a single cherry blossom tree in sight. And you're like, okay, yeah, this is definitely a problem. So you go and
Tell the guide about what I'm seeing to let him know what's going on.
okay. So you go and you tell Goro, and you tell him that he normally has a very like calm demeanor to him. He's like an old grandfather that everyone loves. Like he tells the kids stories, and he helps out everyone around the caravan. Uh, as you're telling him this, he's like, "Oh, there's cherry blossoms. Hmm." And then you tell him that like it's starting to get a lot heavier. Like, and he's like, And you see him, he reaches under his like shirt and he pulls out a pendant and he holds it up and he like his eyes are like focused, like laser focused on this pendant. He's like, It's like, yeah, thank you for telling me. I'll let Masashi know. And he's like, if you could just go back to your position, I'll call for you if something changes.
I go back to doing what I do best.
Cool. Masashi turns over, Goro turns and he walks over towards Masashi. He's like, sir, I think there might be a anomaly up ahead. We might want to keep an eye out. He's like, okay. Hopefully, it doesn't slow us down, but we'll act accordingly. And Goro gets back on top of his wagon, starts riding along. About an hour afterwards, again, at this point, everybody notices the cherry blossoms. The kids are like trying to catch them. And as soon as the cherry blossom petals hit their hands, they just disappear. And you notice that as you're walking, as you step on the cherry blossom petals, they just fade away. And,
Huh.
and then at this point, you guys also realize that there's a very fine like mist starting to creep out of the ground. And you can see your breath in front of you as you breathe. And the sun is setting behind the other side of the mountain, but it definitely doesn't get that cold this quickly. It was a rather warm day on the mountain.
I was gonna say at this point, I would start looking around myself because, temperature drop. I've noticed the petals disappearing when they're stepped on. I'd start looking around, see if I see anything personal.
Okay. If you want to give me either a perception check or a nature check, your choice.
All right, give me just a second here. That'd be a 9.
And which skill?
Nature.
Okay. So you you've been keeping track of the various like sounds of the wildlife around you on the mountain. You know what to listen out for, what is dangerous, what might not be. You start noticing as you're kind of tuning in, everything around you is completely silent. Like, besides the caravan, even the insects have stopped buzzing. It is dead silent.
All right, I'm gonna be a little more alert at this point then.
Okay.
Am I able to talk to Goro?
Yeah.
So you've been traveling this pass fairly often. Does this ever come up before?
These, and he's like, give me an insight check. He's like, well, let's see. 12. You can tell that he's a little off-put right now. And he's like, well, this is what we call an anomaly along the pass. There are times, you know how the spirit world it exists in like pockets of the material world.
Definitely.
An anomaly is what happens when the spirit world crosses over to the material world, but in a very non-natural way. Like it's not normal for it to do this.
I kind of get a little tense at that point. I'm like, so what you're saying is whatever this is needs to get sent back.
Sometimes it handles itself. For the most part, it does handle itself. Generally, it is not threatening. And if it is, we will usually pack up camp for the day, rest before we reach said anomaly, and figure. Ooh, excuse me. Figure out what to do from there.
How do you tell if it's dangerous before you get there?
He takes out his little pendant that he has around his neck, and he holds it up, and he's like, "This thing," and like he kind of gets like almost like a crazy old man look on his face. He's like, "This tells me."
All right. Is that like magical or?
Very. And looking at it, it looks almost like like a seal scroll, but shrunken down to be like necklace size, like necklace pendant size. Give me a religion or arcana check.
All right. Man, if only I could get advantage on any of these.
um, you notice you feel a little bit like heavier almost. Like nothing like physically is affecting you, but just the energy around you almost makes you it's like feels like it's weighing you down. But besides that, nothing else happens really.
All right.
And he's like, we're gonna continue on for now, but I'm gonna keep an eye on my pendant, and we will act accordingly.
Well, you are in charge, so I
Oh,
think
I'm
gonna
not
go
in
take a
charge.
seat.
I'm just the
Well,
guide. But I
you get what I mean.
get,
You're like second in command.
yeah, I get what you mean. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go take a seat. I'm not feeling the best.
Oh, do you need anything? Water, food?
I'll be fine. I just need to sit.
Okay. Let me know if you need anything. And he turns back and starts like oogling and ogling at this little charm he has again. Like, and you hear him like mumbling under his breath. He's like, I think if we can probably travel a little bit more, we'll keep on schedule. Yeah, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. About if anyone else has anything to do, again, they can do it. If not, a little bit more time is gonna pass. I'd say another maybe hour and a half. The mist has started to pick up, and it's become more of a fog now. And everyone pulls out small little like handheld lanterns, just so no one gets lost. And if you do get separated from the group, at least people will be able to see your light and guide you back. Um, and at this point, I imagine most of you, because you're on edge, are keeping an eye towards ahead of you, and Jockin is obviously ahead of the group, still scouting out stuff.
I'm gonna roll
Jockin,
perception.
yeah, you can go ahead and roll me a perception again.
No, 11.
11. Okay, so you're a little bit late to know. Actually, everybody, go ahead and roll me a perception again.
I got a 9.
I got a 10.
11, 9, 11, 10, or 9, 10, and 11. Wow. Okay, so some of the guards and definitely Goro notice it before you guys do. And you hear like kind of like quiet gasps from other people in the caravan who hear it. But through the mountain mist, you see lantern lights flicker. And there should not be lights here. And as you guys get closer and closer, the mist almost seems to split. And there's a village. And it materializes almost like a painting coming to life on a silk screen. First, it's just shadows and vague suggestions of a village. And then the details start to bleed into reality. There's traditional wooden buildings standing in impossible arrangements. Some of them seem to be floating just above the ground, And then there are a couple that are built at angles where you're like, there's no way a building can exist like that. Like they just defy all natural law. There are a couple cherry blossom trees around the city of this village, and they bloom with flowers that every time you blink, they're a different color. So at first you guys see them and you're like, oh, this is a beautiful, like, it's just a pink cherry blossom tree. And then you like either you look away for a second or you blink, and the next time you look back, they're silver. And then again, and they're ghostly blue. And then again, and they're purple. And it just keeps happening. And everyone's just like, what is going on here? Like, this is very not normal. And you see the caravan guide, he pulls out a map. And he's like, this isn't on the map, Goro. What is this? He's like, yeah, this is an anomaly. And he pulls out a little like booklet he has that's attached to his waistband, and he flips through a couple pages. He's like, and he looks up at the place, and he looks down again, and he flips through a couple more pages, and he looks up. He's like, this must be Utsuro Nomura. And again, I'll post that on the Roll20 for spelling if you need to write it down. He's like, this is a village from the spirit realm. And he looks like really, really confused. He's like, this shouldn't be here. There must be something. Huh. He's like, all right. And he turns and you see the the caravan leader. He turns and he's like, all right, everyone, we're going to settle down for the night here. He's like, no one is to go closer towards this village until we know what's going on. He's like, if someone wants to get the bonfire started, we will start making dinner and we will pack up for the night here. And you see a couple of the guards are like, oh, thank God, I was getting tired.
I'll help him start getting everything packed up.
Okay. So you see a couple of the guards go over to one of the big caravans, and they start pulling out like firewood and a couple cooking utensils. There's a couple pots. There's like a bag of rice they pull out, some vases full of water. You see a couple of the other families that are traveling along this path. They start pulling out little like tents almost. What is everybody else doing? Wrath said he's helping set up a little bit.
I'd probably be helping set up as well.
Okay. And Jockin, what are you doing?
I'm going to say hide behind the nearest tree and to keep a lookout on the village.
Okay, so you're just staying a little bit ahead of the group still, just keeping an eye out for anything?
Yeah, but I'm going to find the nearest hiding spot. And
Roll me a stealth check.
25.
You disappear. You climb up. There's like a little nook in a tree that's low enough that you can like you can get like a running start and kick up off the tree and pull yourself up. And as soon as you pull yourself up onto that branch, you are gone. You just like almost fade to shadows. So as everybody is setting up camp for the night, you hear a couple of people, the guards are like, what should we do? Are we going to try to go around it tomorrow if it's not gone? Or are we going to send people to investigate? And a couple of the families are like, I've heard bad omens about stuff like this before. and you see there's one of the merchants who's with you. He's a blacksmith. And his name is. Give me 1 second. I have it. I know I have it somewhere. Come on. Let's just say his name is Christoph, because apparently I didn't write it down. So that's not huge matter. So one of the merchants, he's a blacksmith. His name is Christoph. He starts setting up, and he pulls out like a little anvil out of the back of his wagon, and he starts like just hammering some pieces of metal. And his daughter, who is Yumi, she comes up and she's like, "Dad, come on, we should be resting and making like eating now, not working. Come on, you're working enough just traveling through this." And he's like an older man. He's probably in his like late 50s, early 60s. He's like, "Oh, okay, Yumi. Always you do know what's best for me." And he goes and starts packing his stuff back up. And he's like, "All right, go and find me a spot and I'll be right with you." And you see she runs off, and his wagon is more towards the back of the caravans, and the bonfire is more towards. You guys are kind of setting up in front of the caravan, a little bit away from it. So she runs off towards the bonfire, and she's like, "All right, Dad, I'll find you a spot. Don't worry." Kind of just laughs and goes back to packing up his stuff. As everybody starts um, settling down for the night. Meals are given out, music is played, stories are told, especially Goro. Um, you
In
hear.
the sorry,
Oh, go
in
ahead, go ahead.
the several days that we've been traveling, have we has there been any like indication of like why Christoph is traveling this pass with his daughter?
They not explicitly, but you seeing as how he has a lot of his materials with him, like he has his anvil and a lot of his blacksmithing gear. You assume that he's probably moving over here to either start a shop or to move supplies to a shop that might be over here already.
Gotcha. While everyone's like dancing or not dancing, but like listening to music, telling stories and stuff like that, I want to like come over and sit next to Christoph, and I'm like, uh, so you moving over the pass, or what's going on?
Oh, well, I actually have a family business, and my son is keeping run of my shop over there right now. And my daughter, she's never been, so she wanted to come along, and it was a long fight with her mother about it, but I ended up convincing her somehow. So she's just coming along for the ride. I'm delivering materials, more or less. And you?
Oh, I'm just traveling, trying to make sure everybody can pass along safely.
Ah, you pass. You mean like through the mountain pass safely? Pass along?
Yeah,
Uh, he's gonna roll an insight check.
gotcha.
If you want to roll a deception or
I mean, I'm not
persuasion.
I was gonna say technically, I'm not necessarily lying.
Yeah, that's when
So,
it's up to you. I'll give him a +0 because he's just a average old civilian. He rolled a 10.
I rolled a 13.
It's like, okay. Well, thank you for the help.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It is appreciated.
I was trying to get a read on you a little bit because your daughter seems to care highly about you, and you're a bit older, and I wanted to
Thank.
make sure that you everything else in your life was going all right.
Oh yeah, splendidly. I appreciate the care. And I know I look older, but and he like lifts up his like sleeve, and this dude is jacked for
Oh,
an older dude. He's like
yeah.
completely ripped.
When he
He's
does that,
like,
I give out a chuckle, and I'm like, "Are you certainly could kick my ass? That's for sure." But
he's like, oh, I've given up my days of fighting, but the blacksmithing definitely keeps me in shape.
definitely. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm glad
Yeah.
everything's okay in your life.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, is everything going okay in your life?
Um, and he like kind of like visibly like shrinks a little bit, and he's like, "It could be better, but we're trying to make the best out of what I got." So
Hmm. Are you an adventurer?
you could say that traveler, adventurer. It's all the same thing when you think about it, right?
Nah. Here, give me 1 second. And he turns around and he reaches into his bag and he pulls out like a little business card basically, and he hands it to you, and on it says Christoph, or not Christoph. His last name is uh Woodrow. It says Woodrow's Family Blacksmithing, and then on you flip over to the back and it says thank you for your patronage. Here is a treat from us. He's like, bring this to my shop if you find me or my son, and we'll take care of you.
I tuck it into like my pouch, and I'm like, definitely. Uh,
And
we'll get through
hopefully,
this. Oh, sorry,
yeah.
you go.
No. Go ahead, speak.
I was just gonna say we'll make it through this passage, no problem, and you'll be able to deliver those to your son.
Yeah, and I'm sure that things will get better for you. And he kind of gets a smile on his face, and he's like, and if not, I'm sure my blacksmithing could make it better.
Oh, I could always use a touch up on my weapons. So
He's like, well, nice meeting with you. I have to go and find my daughter. And he reaches out a hand.
give him a shake and go on my way.
All right, cool. And as you're walking away, you get a couple steps away. A couple minutes go by, and then everybody hears him scream out. And he's like, all you hear is, "Where is she?" And you hear the caravan master, Masashi. He's like, "Listen, we're looking for her, okay?" He's like, "No, where is my daughter? I'm not. This is not. This is a serious matter." And he's like, "Yes, I know, but we need to calm down. We don't need to freak anybody out."
I'll run over at that point. Even like I was walking away, I hear that. I turn back and I literally like sprint back over.
And everybody hears this, not just Moros. Everyone hears this.
I would be
I'm
running
like,
over.
yeah, I'm like Christoph. We'll find her. Don't just relax. That you getting all upset, which is perfectly reasonable, isn't gonna do anything any good.
And he, as you say that, he turns around and you see he's like furious. Like this guy who is super like inviting when you talk to him, he just has a look of like anger on it, like pure disdain. And he turns around and he's just like, ah! And he goes to like tell you off, and he catches himself. He takes a breath. He's like, "Ah,
I put my
my
hand on his
daughter."
shoulder
He's like,
when he starts saying that. I put my hand on his shoulder as like it's okay, man.
it's like my daughter is everything. We need to find her.
I would
We'll
And
find her.
he
I would start instantly looking for any type of tracks to see if I see anything or
Okay. Give me either a perception or investigation. Moros, if you are, looking around for her again,
13.
basically everybody, if you're looking around for her, You overhear this little argument. If you want to give me a perception or investigation, your choice.
From my hiding spot, I start looking around, and I got a 17.
17. Okay.
I got a 13.
Yes. I also
13.
got a 13.
Okay. Uh, Moros and Wrath, you guys don't really see anything out of the ordinary, but as you're looking around the caravan, you notice there's a couple people who are like, where where is my family member? Like, where is so and so? And then as you're going to the caravan, there's like at least 6 people that are completely missing.
Are they all children, or is it just people in general?
There are 2 children missing. There's Yumi and another kid who is younger. He's probably around like 10 years old. And then there is 3 adults that are missing.
I would be looking for trouble.
And people are just kind of like starting to panic now a little bit. They're like, I knew I should have traveled to this pass. This was a mistake. And you hear another family, and they're like, "Oh God, I just hope he's okay. I don't want anything to happen. Oh God." They just start like everyone starts freaking out a little bit. Jockin, as you're sitting up in the tree and you're looking around, you you start looking a little bit away from the caravan. You're like, maybe she just wandered off. She's a little bit, there's like the where you guys are situated at, it's kind of like a plateau almost. It's flattened out, it's wide for a couple miles, just flatlands. Most of this pass you've been traveling up the mountain, and it's not like a super steep or um like crazy incline. It's just slight upwards incline the whole time, but it's been kind of like tight. Like you guys have certain parts you've had to move the wagons closer together just to fit through, but this part it's kind of opened up wider now. And Jockin, as you're looking away from the group of wagons, you see a little red hair ribbon stuck to like a almost like a blade of grass that is about 15-20 feet away from the caravan towards the village.
I will write down a piece of paper or a little scrap of parchment tied to one of my arrows and shoot it at the feet of uh, the scout.
The leader of the caravan or like the guide?
The guide.
The guide. Okay. So the
Because
arrow.
that's who I'm working with.
Well, you're working. You were hired by the caravan master.
Okay, I'll shoot it at the caravan master's feet.
Okay. So the arrow, you see, if any of you guys are over towards there, you see an arrow whiz out from one of the trees, and you can't see anything in the tree at all. But you see the arrow whiz out and stick in the ground, and Masashi looks down and kind of startled for a second, and then he sees a piece of paper ties to it. He bends down, and he picks it up and notices it's your handwriting and stuff, and he's like, he calls all of. You hear him start rounding up all of the guards. He's like, "All right, guards, everyone to me." Do the rest of you guys come when he calls the guards? I know you
I'm,
guys aren't guards, but
I'd be going.
I'm still stuck in a tree
okay.
in
I
my hiding
would
spot.
go closer, but not like get in the circle or whatever they're about to do. But I would
Okay.
also try to stay like in between, basically. The fuck is his name? Kristoff and the guards, so that way it's like if he needs anything, there's somebody that's close by.
Okay. And Wrath, what about you? You start hearing the caravan master call, round up all of the guards.
I would be going right to the outskirt to listen to everything that's being said.
Okay. And Jockin, from where you're at, you can hear him. Like from where you're at in the trees, you can hear the caravan master clearly. And he's like, I've just got word from our scout. We found the hairband of one of the missing, or a ribbon from one of the missing girls leading towards the village. And you hear everyone kind of like, "Oh God, dude! I knew this was not a good. This is bad. We should have camped further away."
Do I hear that in my in between space?
Yeah, you're everyone. Wrath and more like everyone hears this.
Okay, but does Kristoff hear that?
Kristoff does hear that, and when he hears that, he's like, She's in the village?" She's like,
I immediately beeline it to it. And I'm like, listen, man, we'll handle it. Like you said, we're adventurers. We got guards. Like we will take care of it.
God, her mother's gonna kill me if anything happens to her. Okay, you're right. I need to relax. And he like takes a seat on like a nearby like little
Is there
rock.
Is there anything else I see as well?
No, you just every time you look over towards the village, the orientation of the village, it kind of shifts a little bit. So you look over and there's like a large building in the center of the village that kind of stands above the others, a little bit taller, not too crazy high. And then the very front of the village, there's like two very long but not tall buildings. And then you look like as you shoot your arrow over, when you look back over towards the village, the taller building is like in the back left corner, and there's only one longer building and then two shorter buildings where the original longer building was. And you're like, are my eyes playing tricks on me? And you rub your eyes a little bit and you look back and the layout is completely changed again. But besides that, you don't see anything else.
Not.
So you hear a couple of the guards, they start like getting angry, but for their own safety. They're like, "Look, I just signed up to give safety through the passage. I was not told about any kind of spiritual villages or kids going missing. This wasn't in my job description." And the caravan leader he's like, "Listen, I know it was supposed to be an easy pass. We even did our research. We did our timing. It's like something must be going on." And he's like, "I'm not gonna force you guys to go out there if you want, but if anybody is willing to help me, I will be offering 50 gold pieces to each person." And you hear like a couple of the guards like grumble, and a couple of them step away without saying anything. And he's like, and none of you will be punished if you decide to stay here with the caravan. That's what you were paid for, to protect it. And
I see another arrow.
you see a
For
couple
my
more of
answer.
the guards step back. And he sees the arrow come in, he grabs it, he looks over in your direction, and even though he can't see you, he just gives like a slight nod. He's like, "Okay, I know that you're with me."
I go over to one of the guards that is staying, and I'm like, hey, I need you to keep an eye on Kristoff. He's
Like,
just taking this especially hard.
The blacksmith?
Yeah.
Oh, his daughter is one of the. Yeah, I will. Thank you.
All right. And I go over to Kristoff. I'm like, hey, random guard name that isn't that important is going to be watching you. He's going to make sure you're all right. If you need anything, I'm going to be one of the people going in and making sure your daughter comes back.
He looks up at you and he like grabs one of your hands. He's like, "Please, make sure she gets back safely. I'll give you anything you want."
It's not about what you can give me. It's about making sure she gets back safe.
You're right. All right. Okay. I wish you guys the best of luck.
Give him a nod and then I'll run over.
And Wrath, what are you doing?
I'm already going straight towards the village, head down, covered, paying attention to everything around me.
All right. As you start walking over, Masashi, he sees you. He's like, "Wait, I have others that will join you. And he nods towards Jockin and like points over in Wrath's direction. And then he noted like as you were Moros, as you're talking to the guard, he kind of like eyes it, and as you walk past him, he like shakes your hand quickly. He's like, I appreciate this.
Of course.
He's like, just get them back safely, please. Thank you. And
That's the plan.
right before you guys are out of earshot, you hear Goro shout out to you. He's like, and remember, don't eat any of their food. Don't give them your real name. Do not make any promises. And you must, and I repeat, you must stay together.
Oh my god, it's the Fae, basically. Jesus Christ.
And yeah, that is that. So as as you guys start approaching the village, you do notice there's some footprints leading towards the village where the dirt has been kicked up recently on the mountainside. And I imagine Jockin and Moros, you guys kind of like hike a little bit to catch up to Wrath. And if you guys have anything to say as you walk towards the village.
I'm just focusing on paying attention to what's around and seeing what I see.
Okay.
Yeah, also just focusing, trying to pay attention for anything that would catch my eye.
Okay.
I'm going to do something completely stupid of what they told us not to do. Yeah, buddy.
And the
I find
fuckery
them-
ensues.
Yep. I mean, we made it a good hour without any fuckery. That's fine.
Well, it is Shadow, for example, and I go into the nearest building.
Okay. So before you guys, this is like, you guys like you and Moros, because Wrath already had a little bit of a lead on you guys. So and there, it's like still a pretty. I'd say it's maybe a good uh like football field length away from you guys. Still the start of the village.
Oh,
So you guys have anything like, I know you guys Moros and Wrath, you guys said you're like paying attention to everything around you, but you guys don't say anything to each other, try to come up with a plan, or
Nope. I'm just
if not, that's totally fine.
Yeah,
I'm just
I was gonna say I don't really know what type of plan we can make for a situation. We have no idea what we're getting ourselves into. So
fair enough.
I mean, my mindset at this point is people that were in the caravan that I'm with is gone. Now I've got to ensure their safety.
Okay.
So I'm going straight for it. Like there's no like
Yeah,
whatever
so you guys
happens
are
happens.
just all right, just straight into the action. No words are said. You guys start approaching, the three of you. As the three of you start approaching the village, the very first thing you notice, there's an old man pushing a small tea cart outside of the outermost ring of the city. And he's just shouting out, "Fresh tea! Fresh chrysanthemum tea! Come get your tea for cheap!" But as he talks, his words echo behind him, but they echo and they linger when they echo, a little bit like too long. And as he's pushing the cart, he's moving with like such fluid grace that it seems like way too smooth to be natural.
This
Well,
year.
they told us not to eat anything, so I don't think I'll be drinking anything either.
Okay.
Oh, I will go up to the tea cart handler and order a chrysanthemum tea, but
Oh,
but make it look like I was drinking the tea.
okay, but you're not actually drinking or anything.
No, I won't even drink it.
Okay.
I
So
wanna I
as
wanna see if I could deceive him by drinking it, see what he would do.
okay, so as you approach the old man, he's like, oh, hello. I haven't had a, whew, I haven't had, and like he kind of brightens up a little bit. He gets a wide smile on his face. He's like, oh man, I haven't had anybody come buy my tea in such a long time. He's like, you know what? First customer in a long time. This one's on me. And you see him. He pulls out a tea kettle. He pulls out a little nice ornate glass, and he's pouring it. And as you're looking at this guy, you notice that his feet are backwards.
Lovely.
But everything else about him seems to be normal. Like he just looks like a normal old guy. And he's like, "Oh, here you go." And he hands you the cup with like a really shaky hand.
Let's see what I can roll for it.
You can either roll, deception, sleight of hand, however you want to flavor
A
this.
19
19 on what? Deception?
deception.
Okay, so how do you deceive him? He asks you, he's like, "Oh, try the tea. Try the tea. Tell me how it is."
I bring the cup to my lips, but not really drinking it.
So you just like press your lip to the edge of the cup, but you don't like actually take a sip or anything like that.
And then whenever I bring it down is whenever I pour out the tea.
Okay. He he doesn't notice. He's like, "So, how was it?"
Very good. Best chrysanthemum tea I've had in years.
Thank you. It's an old family recipe. Uh, can I have that cup back?
Sure.
He takes the cup from you, dips it into he has a little bowl of water to like wash the dishes basically. He dips it into the little bowl of water, hangs it up on the side of the cart to dry. He's like, "Do you want another cup?"
No. I have a question for you.
"Oh, yeah, of course."
And in my best persuasive voice, do you know anything about a little girl?
Little girl. Uh, could you be more specific? Like, I can tell you about a lot of little girls, but
I won't be very persuasive. I rolled a 12.
he's not trying to like hide. Like you can tell he's not trying to hide anything from you or anything. He's just like, "But what little girl?" Like,
Uh, there was a girl about 13 years old. Did
uh-huh.
she come this way?
uh, I haven't seen any little girls. And like again, you can tell he's not lying. He's not trying to hide anything from you. He's being completely like completely honest with you. He's like, I haven't seen any little girls. I've just been trying to sell my tea.
Okie dokie.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
No. Where's the nearest shop?
The nearest shop. That would be. Uh, Let me think. I don't go into the town much, but let me think. If you go, there's a. It's called the Spirit Market Square. I know that they sell a couple things there. It's a very open square in the one of the only really open squares in the village. Um, and yeah, they have a lot. You can buy a lot of different stuff there.
Thank you.
Of course. And then with that, he turns and starts pushing his cart again. He's like, "Tea, tea." I have tea here. He just walks off, and as he walks off, you think about the person you just talked to, and he had a very like pleasant face and smile, but as soon as he walks away, you don't really remember what he looks like. Not that your memory is gone of him or anything, but it's just that his facial features were very forgettable. And you're just kind of like,
Uh,
huh, what did that guy, what did he, like, did he have a wide nose? Did he have big lips or small? Like, you just don't really remember. But it's not like, and it doesn't, like, it's not in a, it doesn't scare you or anything like that. You're just kind of like, huh, that's kind of weird. Like,
but do I remember his feet?
yeah, you do remember that his feet were backwards. But you're just like, huh, I don't really remember his face as much as uh, you would think I would. And then Wrath or Moros, do you have anything to do as he's talking to this tea vendor?
As I said, I'm on a mission. I'm still going straight towards.
I also would just have. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have just left him behind, but I would have been like moving slowly forward and just checking
Just
my surroundings.
so he can kind of get an idea of where you guys are at still.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys could give me a investigation check.
That would be a 21.
Ooh.
16.
21, 16, and a 17. Okay.
Yep.
So all of you guys, as you're walking, you notice that there are footprints, but they lead in circles, and it's not like the footprints came from anywhere and then just started walking in a circle. It's like someone was picked up, put down somewhere, and then they just started walking in a circle. It's like a 5 foot like wide circle or so. And as you enter the village proper, reality seems to hold its breath. The village exists in a perpetual dusk that quite never fades to night, like full night, where paper lanterns cast light that curves like cat smiles, and the air itself feels like honey on your skin. Every sound has an echo that whispers something slightly different than the original, and the ground beneath your feet feels both completely solid and somehow insubstantial, like you're walking on memories of stone rather than actual stone.
Feels like home.
The main streets wind like a river, sometimes splitting into tributaries that loop back onto themselves. Paper lanterns hang from lines strung between buildings, swaying in a wind that doesn't match the one you feel on your skin. Their soft light casts multiple shadows from each object, some of those shadows moving independently of their owners. And the last thing that you notice, there's music, and it's everywhere. Sometimes it's coming from invisible instruments, and sometimes it seems like it's coming from the ground itself. And the songs that you're hearing, they feel familiar, but as soon as the song ends, again, it's almost impossible to remember the song. The whole village is pulsing with the beat of the music, like a heart beating just out of sync with your own. So, what do you guys want to do?
Find these people.
I'm gonna look around, see if I see anybody that looks like Yumi or the little kid or any of the adults.
Okay. So, as you guys are walking through the city, keeping an eye out, the city is pretty like inhabited. There's a decent amount of people there. There are some uh I don't know if you'd say people necessarily, depending on your character, but there are some things there that definitely are not of normal, of the material plane, I guess you could say. There you see some like the very first thing you guys see as you start walking to the village, besides the old man, is there's an umbrella that is just hopping along the street. And you're like, what the hell? What is okay? What is this? Like, what's going
Nine
on
hells.
here? And then you see like a pair of sandals like running after the umbrella, but there's nobody wearing them. It's just a pair of sandals. Um,
Okay.
Interesting.
the next thing you see is a give me 1 second. I'm trying to find. Like I said, I have all this stuff written down. Um, Moros, as you look throughout the city, you can kind of sense that there's like this is the spirit. This is the spirit realm, but we are not in the spirit realm. It's the spirit realm is in the material realm, and that's not a normal thing. And you can kind of tell like something's wrong here.
Yeah, my uneasy feeling is still very much there.
Uh, um, Wrath, as you're searching around, because you're so accustomed to moving through the shadows, you notice that like shadows, like a light will be in front of you, and you'll look behind you, and your shadow isn't there. And then you look in front of you, and your shadow is in front of you, but there's no light source coming from behind you.
I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna see if my shadow still stays in my face or if it's.
No, the shadow stays facing towards the light, not cast by the light almost.
Huh.
And it follows your every action. It's not like it's its own independent shadow or anything. It's almost like the light is bouncing off of you and projecting your shadow onto the ground.
So it's like everything is like inverted. So if
Yeah,
I
almost. And
get it.
not all of the shadows are like that. Some of them are normal, some of them are like that. Some of the shadows bend in like almost impossible like ways where you're like, "Huh, like that shadows don't do that normally."
No.
And then Jockin, you notice that these buildings, there's like one of the buildings is literally just floating like completely horizontal in the sky. And you're like, well, how the hell do you get into that building? Like, there's literally there's no ladder, there's no way to get up to it. You're just like this. Okay, this doesn't make sense. And then the path that you guys are walking on, it splits into two separate paths. One of them leads to what looks to be the um, the market that the tea peddler had mentioned, and the other one looks to lead towards the taller building that Jockin had seen from afar before you guys. I mean, I guess you at this point you would have all seen what it looks like. This taller building.
I'm gonna look at both of the people, and then I'm gonna look over at the building, and I'm gonna just start walking towards that building.
Anybody else have anything to say, or are you guys following along with him?
I follow behind him.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
do you say anything to him?
Nope.
So where are you going, Jockin? What are you doing?
To the market.
Okay. As you guys start separating from each other, Jockin, you feel really cold. Like, at first it's just like, oh, like a little shiver down your spine. and then after a little bit, you start getting colder and colder, and you're like, what is going on? And you look around, and there's nothing there. Do you keep continuing along towards the market? And just so you know, you're not being. I just wanted you to know, lore wise and stuff, you're not being punished for splitting up from the group.
Do do I see any other buildings around me, like not houses, but like other buildings that could possibly have
Like any like
information,
eye-catching buildings.
like taverns or something like that?
There's you see that there is a one of the longer buildings. You see there's a sign on the front of it that says the Endless Festival Hall. And you can hear music coming from inside and laughs and people. It sounds almost like people are dancing inside from what you can hear. And then like so the way the path splits up is like a either left or right. Right leads to the building that Moros and Wrath are traveling towards. And if you go left, there you would go down a little bit, and then that also splits into two paths. On the left path is the market square, and then on the right path there's that longer building that says the Endless Festival Hall.
I'm gonna go take the one to the Spirit Market Square.
Okay. So as you go towards the Spirit Market Square, the market unfolds before you like a paper fan. Vendors call out in voices that echo slightly too long, selling memories in bottles and dreams in paper bags. And as you get closer, a child runs past you, carrying a cage of fireflies that sing human songs. And you also hear an old woman bargaining for tomorrow's weather with a merchant who his shadow, like I explained to Wrath earlier, falls in the wrong direction. And the child that you see run past you. You kind of like eye them up and down, and you can quickly infer that it is not one of the children from the caravan.
Okay. I will just look around and let Wrath or Moros have a chance.
Okay. So you just kind of explore around, keep an eye out for any of the people from the caravan.
Yep.
Uh,
And with that, I need to take a potty break.
oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead. We'll cut back over to Moros and Wrath. As you guys are approaching this uh, two-story structure, um, it's built from dark wood that seems to almost absorb the light around it, and the windows glow with different color lights every time you look at them. Um, Steam rises from its chimneys in shapes that almost form words. And every time the sliding doors that lead into this building open, it's a completely different scene inside. What would you guys like to do?
You said whenever the door is open, it's a different scene.
Yeah, so like the first time it opens, you see what looks like humanoids um, sitting down and like enjoying like a little tea party almost, and behind them there is two what looks like shadowy creatures, but they have human faces. And then the doors close because like someone leaves, and they close the doors behind them, and then someone else goes in, and when they open it, it's like a greeting room almost. And then when they close the door behind them, someone else goes in, and they open it up. It's like a almost like a sauna room.
Oh, is it like a line of people like waiting, and it's like one person goes in, one person comes out? type
No,
thing?
you guys just notice this as you're like walking towards the building. There's just people going in and out at random.
Okay.
Like the city is inhabited. It's not like a ghost town or anything.
Yeah, definitely. I would, noticing that it changes, I would wait to see if it does the same room twice or multiple times.
No, you watch it for a little bit, and you're like keeping like an eye, like okay, so this room had this in it, and okay, it had 3 people, and then you keep watching the next room. It's like, oh, okay, there's more people in here, and the next time it's like back to that like greeting room almost, and you're like, huh, and every single time it just changes. It's never the same.
Hmm. Well, do you have a plan?
No. We've seen the greeting room what, twice now?
Yeah, you've seen it a couple times. I imagine if you guys are like stopping for a second and kind of just watching it, you've probably seen it like a couple times, but it's
So the
not.
only room that comes back up is the greeting room.
Yeah, but every time the greeting room comes up, although you can still tell it is the greeting room, it's like it's structured differently. Like one time you see it and the front desk is like right there in center, and then the next time you see the greeting room, the front desk is like further back and like off to the left.
Something about this isn't right.
There's nothing right about this whole village. Uh, is there, you said there was people around. Is there anybody like in close proximity to us?
Yeah, there's a couple people that are just walking by.
Uh, excuse me. What can you tell me about this fancy building? I've never seen something like this before.
Oh, this is the tea house. It is it's a tea house. I don't really know how else to explain it to you.
Well,
Um,
I've never seen a building where the rooms essentially cycle.
have you never been to the spirit realm before?
While
You
he's
know, oh yeah, you go.
I was gonna say, while he's having this conversation, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna touch the wood and see if I get any type of feeling from it or anything.
Okay, give me a Arcana or Nature check, whichever you prefer. As you ask that question, Moros,
Mhm.
um, this lady that you stopped, she's like, you said you've never been to the spirit realm before.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never been to the spirit realm before, but I've had a close connection to it.
Um, she kind of like eyes you up and down. She's like, "Oh, um, well, thing. I don't. I've never been to the material realm, so it's hard for me to compare this place to that place. And as I imagine, it's hard for you to comprehend this place compared to the material realm. Um, but things just, I guess, work differently here. Um, if you think about what you want before you enter the tea house, it should take you to the room you're meant to be in.
He gives like a kind of perplexed look, and he's like, anything that I want, it should show up in a room.
Yep.
Well, let's say hypothetically, I was looking for somebody, not knowing if they're in this tea house. They would still show up.
If they might if they're in there.
All right. Well, I appreciate the help.
Yeah, of course. And
I gotta.
she reaches her hand out to shake yours.
Did they say not to shake hands? I don't remember.
They did not. They said to not give your name, to not eat any of the food, to not make any promises, and to not separate.
Which we did. I'll shake the hand.
All right. As you go to reach for this lady's hand, you realize that her hands are backwards.
All right.
Do you still shake her hand?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing happens. She shakes her
Okay.
hand. She's like, "Yeah, of course. I hope you have a great time here."
Thank you kindly.
And she goes back to do. She was as you approach her, she was like sweeping a spot on the ground, and then like as you kind of back away from her, you look down, and she's not sweeping up anything. She's just sweeping one spot over and over again.
Gotcha. I shake my head and I walk towards Wrath.
Okay. And Wrath, you rolled a 17. Nature or Arcana?
Arcana.
Okay. And you said you were trying to.
I was trying to
Like,
see
get
if
it-
I could get any feelings from the wood, like, you know, if it's spiritual, if it's enchant. I don't know the best way to explain it. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
no,
see what
just
I
like
can.
what kind of wood it is, or like if it's magical in nature.
Yeah.
So you go up to the wood and you lay a hand against it and kind of run your finger along the grain, and it feels like normal wood. It as you kind of like push against it a little bit harder, and it feels like it has a little bit of give, but it doesn't move. So you're like, oh, it's like it's structurally sound, but it feels like almost like rubbery to the touch. And you're just kind of like, oh, okay. It's a little weird. Besides that, you don't really get anything from it. It's wood. You can tell that it's probably not from the material realm, or at least it's not like any wood that you've seen before. But it doesn't seem to have any magical properties or anything else to it.
Uh, be walking up and I'm like, hey Wrath, the nice lady I was talking to told me that if you think about something when you go to enter, that if it's within the tea house, that it will appear. And that's essentially why the rooms change, is what I'm gathering.
Okay. This wood don't feel right.
Yeah, I get a weird feeling about this whole place.
The more
I
I'm
would,
here, the less I want to be here.
yeah, me too, man. I'll go up to the doorway, and then I would think about Yumi in particular,
Okay.
trying to see if
As
anything happens.
as you go to step into the doors like close in front of you, and you hear from inside a um what sounds to be a young girl's voice. She's like, "Oh, it's so pretty here. Ah, I love it here. I never want to leave. But I don't know. I really like it here." And she just kind of like keeps going on about like how pretty it is and how
And
different it
I can't
is.
open the door.
No, the door is closed currently.
I tried knocking on the door, and I'm like, Yumi, is that you?
There's no response. You just hear the girl keep talking, and you hear a slight movement inside, and then a uh, trying to think what it's what the name of it is. Sheesh. The door opens like slightly, about like 5 inches wide, and when you look in, you see a shadow, and it's just like an amorphous, like imagine like the very imagine just like your normal old like cartoon ghost, but it's all black and almost like see-through, but it has a human face. And it's like, yes, can I help you?
Is that the same voice that I heard?
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. No.
Wow.
I'm looking for a young girl named you. Actually, I don't give the name. I'll just say I'm looking for a young girl that seemed to have wandered in here.
A young girl, you say? We've had a couple come in here in our time. What does she look like?
I give a short description of what Yumi looks like.
Yes, I have seen her recently.
Oh, you have?
Yes. Why is it you look for her?
Well, you know, her father's really is really worried about her. So we kind of need to get her back to him as soon as possible.
From what I hear, she says she likes it here.
That's understandable. This is a very nice place. But just because you like it doesn't mean that it's necessarily best for you.
So you think you know what's best for her?
Given her age, I believe that her father would know what is best for her.
Ah, I see. Well, how about you travel to the spirit market and get me a box of tea from Obake, and I will see about letting you in to talk to her.
I'm gonna look up at Moros and just stare at him, knowing that we're not supposed to make any type of promises or deals.
You can make it. No, you
I
can
was
make.
you
I will
can't
say
you can
you
make.
can
I
make
was gonna
deals.
say you're not supposed to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll promise I'll do this thing for you. But like if I was to be like, yeah, I'll promise I'll go grab that tea for you, that might be something. But if I'm like, all right, I can go see about grabbing the tea.
Yeah.
I think it's about
If
how I word
someone,
it back and stuff.
yeah, if someone asks you to do something for them, you can do it. But if you make a promise, that's where things could go bad.
Um, yeah, I can definitely see about trying to get you some of that tea. When I come back, how do I find you? Do I just think about what I thought about this time?
Just think about the symbol on the tea, and it will let you in, or in the tea on the tea box.
Uh, all right. Sounds good. I will hopefully be back shortly.
Well, until then, toodaloo.
Yeah, toodaloo.
And the door, as he says that, the door just slams shut.
All right. Well, we gotta go to the market and get a box of tea from the name that I didn't write down because I was trying to type and talk at the same time. I
Obake.
didn't remember.
Yep.
Obake.
Obake.
Hey, I spelled that right. Cool. Yeah, we gotta go get tea from Obake and bring it back.
And I'll say around this time, um, we will cut back over to Jockin as he travels through the market. What are you doing?
I'm just getting the feel for checking out all the vendors, seeing if I can't locate some of the adults in from the party.
Okay, as you're walking along the market, there are various people calling out for different, like trying to peddle different things. You hear one man yelling, "Dreams for sale! I've got all your dreams here. Anything you could dream of, I've got it." You hear another spirit yelling out, uh, "I've got promises that can be kept forever." And her voice kind of like trails off in like this eerie tone. There's another person, an older woman, and as you walk by, she is talking to one of the merchants, and she's like, "Please, I'm just begging you for nice weather tomorrow. That's all. Just want a nice day." And then you hear the merchant. He's like, "I don't know. Made the last couple days kind of nice for you." And like you just walk by, and their voice kind of trails off behind you. Are you looking for anything specifically? Like I know you said you're looking for other people, but is there anything else you're keeping an eye out for?
Uh, Things that could be useful to myself. Uh, Preferably a bigger bag to hold my stuff in, or extra arrows or different types of arrows, stuff like that.
Okay. Um, as you're walking through the market, you come across a little stall that's set up, and there's a guy selling what looks to be various like weapon supplies. He has a couple daggers. He has what looks to be a really ornate longsword. A couple bundles of like arrows. Looks about to be about like 5 arrows each or so. He's like, "Ah, yes, you come here. You seem like an adventurer."
I go up to him and
"Yeah, so what kind of weapons do you like?"
I need better arrows. What do you
"Better
have?
arrows. Ah, let me see." And he kind of like, being taller than you, he kind of leans over you a little bit and pulls an arrow out of your quiver. He like starts looking at it. He's like, "Ah, I can do better than this." And he reaches up onto the like little wall that he has set up behind his stall, and he pulls off a bundle of arrows. He's like, "These arrows, they're a little bit sharper. I've put a little bit of my magic touch to it." He's like, "I'll give these to you for, let's say, 2 memories."
No coin, no nothing.
2 memories.
Hmm.
They could be fond memories, or they could be memories you wish to forget.
I want to ask the merchant. Is that all that is traded? Is memories and such?
I exchange goods for memories. And as he like talks and like explains, he's like, "Yeah, I'm just a simple businessman. I collect weapons that I find throughout the lands and or enchant myself, and I exchange them for memories." And as he talks, you can start to notice that there's two voices coming from this guy. And it's one is like a normal like speaking voice, but the other one slightly hides under that first voice, and it's like a little bit raspy, but nothing like too, I guess, like scary or anything.
Hmm.
And you can tell again, like the tea
They're
vendor,
not.
he's being completely upfront with you. He's not trying to hide anything.
I'll take a step back and write down in a journal what's going on, and just so I can keep a record if something decides to happen. Because they want to talk about memories, I want to make sure that I'm I won't forget
Okay,
if I read this.
so you're basically writing down your memory in a book
Uh,
or like your
interactions.
journal.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're like writing down, he like kind of like twirls the bundle of arrows in his finger, and he's like, "So, do you want them?"
I'm also trying to remember what the leader said.
As you are thinking back on what he said, you hear his voice echo in your head. Don't eat any of their food. Don't make promises. Don't tell them your name. And don't split up. And then you hear his voice echo like 3 more times. Don't split up. Don't split up. Don't split up.
I chuckled to myself. I'm like, too late for that one.
But yeah, nothing about buying stuff or anything.
I write down two of the least favorite memories.
Okay. And again, you don't have to be specific with them. If you want to write them down later to tell me, you can. Um so after you write those down, he in one hand he holds out the bundle of arrows, and the other hand he just holds out his empty hand. He's like, "Whenever you're ready, place your hand upon mine, and I will take those two memories off your hand in exchange for these arrows."
And these are the least evasive memories that I can come up with. So I'll place my hand on his, and the two
And
non
as
important memories.
Yep, and as he holds your hand, you feel like you get a really weird feeling of something entering your mind. And it doesn't look around, it doesn't explore. It goes exactly to those two memories that you were thinking of. And as soon as it entered your mind, it is gone. And you try to remember, like you think about what just happened, and your memory of whatever those two memories were is completely gone.
Okay.
And as he pulls his hand slowly away from yours, he, with his other hand, uh, hands you the bundle of arrows. And he's like, "So, these arrows just give a little extra oomph to their punch." And above table, you have 5 arrows that will add 2 extra damage to your rolls.
Okay, 2 damage extra.
Yep, they're just normal arrows, but Each of them will add 2 extra damage.
Okay.
And as you walk away, he's like, "Thanks for the memory."
And of course, I wrote down the memories beforehand.
Yeah, as you're walking away, you open your journal, and there's nothing written where you wrote those memories at.
Really?
Yep, there is nothing written down.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
as you're walking away, he notices this, and he kind of like he chuckles to himself, and you can hear it. He's like, "I told you, take your memories." Uh, I imagine at this point, or after walking around a little bit longer, you guys would end up bumping into each other in the market.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So, do you guys tell him anything, or?
I'm just gonna look
Yeah,
at him and
definitely.
shake my head.
So Jockin, as you turn one of the corners of the market, you bump directly into Wrath, and as soon as he notices it's you, he just gives you the like dirtiest look, like, "You motherfucker."
You don't listen, do you?
Never.
Well,
Were we the only ones that came in, or were there other guards that came as well?
Nope, it
Because
was just you three.
I was gonna say that they split up then too.
The other guards, when the leader of the caravan was like, "You guys don't have to go in. You were hired to protect the caravan." They were all kind of like, "Okay, I'm protecting the caravan then."
Fair enough.
They kind of like shit their pants a little bit and were like, "No, thank you."
fuck it. Let's find this tea.
Yeah,
What tea?
Chuck, when you've been roaming around here a little bit, do you know where I could get a box of Obake tea?
Uh, yes.
Yeah,
And I would be careful.
Why is that?
Uh, they don't deal in currencies. They don't deal in coin.
Uh, Interesting. All right. Well, it seems like that is our only way to get Yumi. I don't even know any of the other people's names off the top of my head. We do we know the names of everybody else that like went missing, or can
I
I
imagine.
assume that maybe they all kind of are in the same spot?
Yeah,
Maybe,
they're
hopefully.
you think to yourself they're all in the same spot, but then you also know Masashi, as you guys were like kind of leaving in a hurry, he gave you a list of like everybody's names.
Gotcha.
They're
Okay.
none of the other people are super important. They'll be there, but I don't have names for them.
As
Fair
of
enough.
yet.
NPC 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it.
Yeah, and then Kid NPC.
Yeah.
That's not Yumi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um. Yeah. Let's go find that box of tea.
Yeah, and as Jock, and as you were traveling through the market, you definitely saw the tea vendor. Uh, as you guys approach, the tea vendor is this like ungodly obese man. Like, I'm talking like dude can't even stand on his own. Like, he is literally sitting down behind the stall, and he looks like he's about to burst the stall in half because of he's just that big.
Like the archivist in Play Trinity.
Yeah. Or like if you've played Resident Evil Village, he's like the shop
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
yeah. And he's like, wow, would you like some tea? Are you here for tea?
Yes. Looking for a box of Obake tea.
Oh, well, I am Obake, so this is all of my tea. Are you looking for anything in specific? Are you here to pick up an order, or?
Are we here to pick up an order?
Yeah,
We're not, right? He just said to go
well,
get a
he
box
told
of
you
tea.
to go grab a box of tea from Obake. So I guess, yeah, he would have told you like there is an order that he already has placed. He's just telling you to go get it for him.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we're here to pick up an order.
Above the table.
Yeah,
Do I tell them what the price is for it?
yeah. If you want to, this is totally up to your character, dude.
As I was telling them about on the way to the Abake, I told them about the exchange of merchandise for other things.
Yeah. So along the way, Jockin tells you guys that the merchants here exchange material goods for non-material goods. And he tells you that he exchanged 2 of his memories for a couple arrows that he shows you guys.
All right.
But Obake, he goes, "Oh, you're here to pick up an order for who? Name?"
We definitely did not get his name.
I'm gonna look up at him, and I'm gonna be like, shadow figure inside tea house.
Oh, you must mean John.
If that's what he goes by.
Oh yeah. Give me 1 second. And he can't even turn around because of how big he is. He just like kind of like wiggles back and forth very like subtly and slowly. He like shifts around and he grabs, and it's like this tiny little box of tea. I mean, like the box fits in the palm of your hand.
And it has the symbol on it.
Yep. And when he puts the box down on the table, it has the engraved on the top of the box is like a panther's face that is like open and like growling basically towards you. He's like,
Not
okay.
foreshadowing at all, right?
He's like, for John, this is gonna be. And he pulls out a little ledger and he looks and he's like, oh, paid for. Well, here you go. And he slides it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
What did he pay?
Yep. Nothing. Oh, John? What did John pay?
Yeah.
Let me just double check. He like goes through the ledger and he's like reading. 48 souls.
One, that's a lot of souls for a little amount of tea.
Well, it's my tea.
I'm sure it is amazing. And I definitely don't mean to, if that came off as disparaging at all. I'm not sure what currency rates are here, so.
No, that's pretty average. He's like,
So if I wanted to get tea, I don't have souls to offer. What would my currency rate be?
well, for that specific type of tea, I only take souls.
What is so special about this tea?
Try it.
We have a very specific task with this tea that I can't just go willy nilly trying with the tea.
maybe John will let you try some. He's a nice guy.
Is he? He fucking has
He just
48 souls to give.
he's like just looking at you very like nonchalantly.
How old are these souls?
A couple of them are thousands of years old. He pulls out like he pulls out what looks like a coin book almost. He like starts like flipping through it. He's like, "Oh, this one's 482 years old. This one's 300."
Um,
Uh,
Curious, is there any ones that are like, I don't know, 13
16.
or 16? I thought it was she was 13.
She's 16. And a 10-year-old boy.
he's like looking through them. He's like, "Not, no, those are a little bit more expensive. It's like a premium currency almost."
Oh,
But nah, none of that here. Well, best get on your way before John gets upset. He likes his tea.
yeah, pleasure.
Yep.
Toodaloo.
See ya. And yeah, you go on back towards the tea building, the tea house.
Before we get there, see that tea for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Just don't take any of it because I don't want to chance them not giving us Yumi back or any of the other people.
Did we confer with one another about what we was in the process of doing as we're walking back?
Well, we haven't yet.
He didn't really give any sort of inclination of whatever process he was in. He barely opened the door, and then gave me that offer after talking to him. And technically, he didn't even say Yumi would come with us. He said that he would let us in to speak with her.
Hmm. While I was walking around, I hear people selling promises and weather and dreams. I'm like, oh, I don't want to deal with any of that. So I decided to keep my eyes out if I saw any of the adults of the caravan here in the market.
Yeah, you're keeping an eye out, and you don't see anybody. There doesn't seem to be anybody that doesn't belong in this city, in the market. As you guys walk, unless you guys have anything else to say to each other, um, you guys start approaching the tea house, and as soon as you step up the first two steps, the doors instantly fling open to reveal a where is the description?
A
It
cartoon like
is
Ghost.
well. Here,
We're fighting Casper.
I'll do something better. I will reveal the battle map. Well, I'm not gonna
The
say
battle
battle
map.
map. I'm not gonna say battle, but just the map. So yeah, the doors open. These doors, yeah, down at the bottom where you guys would be entering from down here. If you want to you can drag your character sheet from your journal over to the map, and you'll place your token right on there.
It's not what I needed. I need that to go here.
There is two.
I'm not. How do I drag?
So when you go to your journal, which
Uh
is
huh.
the third tab, just click. Once you click on it, it'll say characters, and it'll have your name. Just click, like literally hold your click and drag it.
Yep, there you go. Perfect. So yeah, as you guys step into the tea house, you notice in the four corners of the room there is a shadow in each corner. Each of them have humanoid faces, but all of them have varying features. The one in the top left corner is a young woman who has cherry blossoms falling from her hair. The one in the top right corner is an elderly man who looking at him you can see that he is like radiating heat. In the bottom right corner, there is a child with maple leaf patterns on their skin. And in the bottom left corner, there is a like uh, middle-aged woman whose figure seems to be made of both snow and shadow. It's like shadowy, but it looks almost as if like snowflakes are falling within her body. Um, and as you enter, they all turn towards you guys, and in a unified voice, uh, they say, "Welcome to the tea house. What is your business here?"
Does that unified voice sound like the voice of John?
Nope. They each have their own independent voice, but they are just talking in unison.
I'm
Gotcha.
going.
And none of the voices sound like John.
Nope.
I'm gonna hold the tea box out and just show the symbol on it to them.
Ah, you're here for the ceremony,
What ceremony?
and they just don't respond to you. They're like, "Well, you if you would like, you may prepare yourself." And actually, I'm gonna do a little bit of backtracking here. Uh, the first room you guys entered does not look like this one you enter. It looks almost like a waiting room, but in the center of it, instead of being like a desk, there is just a stone basin with water flowing from it, but the water is flowing upwards instead of downward. But the four people are still in the corners of the room. Everything is still said. It's just the room looks a little bit different.
Hmm.
So they say, well, proceed with the ceremony then.
Uh, what exactly does that entail?
They don't respond to you. They just watch you guys.
I'm gonna turn and look at both of them.
And the room is completely empty, except for in the very center of the room is a stone basin with water that is flowing upward.
I mean, above the table, general knowledge would be like to dump the tea into the basin or whatever, but I don't know if we actually want to do that or not.
Yeah, the water, as it flows upwards, it seems to like hit the ceiling and disappear almost. But it's like a steady flow of water.
I want to see if I see anything else.
Okay, give me a perception check.
No, 22.
Okay, next to the stone basin, It's like almost behind. It's a pretty wide basin. It's about like I'd say 3 people wide. So towards the like back of the basin behind it almost, there are 3 towels that are folded up, sitting on what looks to be like a bench behind the basin.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna put the tea right back into my satchel, and I'm gonna walk forward.
Okay, towards the basin.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk towards the basin and I'm gonna look at it.
As you look at it, it looks like normal water. It's a little bit more like it's has like a bluish tinge to it almost, but it just looks like normal water. It is coming. The water is pooled in the basin, but in the center of it is like almost a spout, and that's where the water is flowing upward into the air.
And as he's looking at that, I'm going to look at the 3 towels on the bench.
Um, Give me an investigation check.
Yay. 15.
As you pick the first towel up, the second one, uh, it seems to almost like move towards you as you pick the first one up, and then it just falls on the floor, and nothing happens. There was just a string from the first one that was stuck to the second one, and you investigate it. They're just towels.
Hmm.
Hmm. I don't like this. Not one bit.
Neither do I.
Yeah, not a fan.
I guess I'm gonna continue to proceed forward, go towards where this quote unquote ceremony is gonna happen.
The door, as you approach it, the door that's behind the basin, it doesn't open, and the spirits repeat out to you that, or the spirits all say out loud together, you must be purified before you can continue the ritual.
Huh. I'm assuming they expect us to wash our hands.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go.
Uh,
I do want to ask a question about the table. How far are we from the caravan?
The caravan, it's about like a, I'd say like a football field and a half away from where the village is at. So it's like a pretty decent distance.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step outside.
As you try to step out the door does not open, and the spirits say the ceremony must be completed before you can leave.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to the basin and wash my hands.
Okay, give me a performance or dexterity, or give me a performance, dexterity, or sleight of hand check.
That would be 19 with sleight of hand.
Okay, yeah, you wash your face, you wash your hands, you kind of catch the water that is like to wash your hands. You kind of catch some of the water that is flowing upwards, And then you dip your hands into the basin, splash some water up onto your mouth and your face, and there is like almost like a torch above the door, and one of the torches lights up. There's three of them.
Seeing that, I will follow suit.
All right, performance or dexterity check.
Uh, that's a great question. Performance or dexterity? It's the same. I'll just do a dex check.
Yeah,
17.
same thing. You follow Wrath's lead. You wash your hands. You catch some of the water, and you're like, "How the fuck is this water? Like, what? How's this water doing this?" And as you catch the water that's flowing upwards, as soon as it like touches your hands, it just falls back down into the basin.
Hmm.
And so you you wash your hands and your face, and then the second torch lights up.
Why not?
All right, give me a performance, dexterity, or sleight of hand check.
That's the lowest I rolled. A 10.
A 10. As you go to catch some of the water, it like you just from the other two like already washing their hands and some of the water splashing out of the basin onto the ground. As you go to you being a little bit shorter, as you go to reach up to catch some of the water that's flowing upwards, you slip a little bit and you just like splash, like not your whole body, but like your arms just splash into the basin and like kind of send water flying everywhere. But the water gets on your hands and your face, and the third torch lights up, but it lights up instead of like a fiery color, it lights up black. But the next door opens.
Ooh. What does that
Onward,
look
I
like?
guess.
And also, all of you, as you wash, or I'm not sorry, not all of you, Moros and Wrath, or I'll do it individually. Moros, as you wash your face, you close your eyes to like splash some water on your face, and you get reflections of the village that you're in, but it's like really old. Like it looks like this village had just started, but you can tell based off of the T building in the center that this is the city that we're in, but this is from a long time ago.
Okay.
And then Wrath, as you wash your face, you get a glimpse of something moving through the earth that it under the city. You can't tell what it is, but you can tell that something is alive under this village.
Mm.
And then you guys proceed into the next room. Uh, the next room is more so looks like the map that I have up. There is four floating cushions, and in front of those four floating cushions, there's a small table adorned with different items. There is a whisking bowl, there is a ladle, and then there's a set of teacups. And as you enter the room, the door that you entered through closes behind you. And when you first walked into the room, there was nothing else there besides this. But as soon as the door closes behind you, it's like the spirits from the other room teleport into this room, and they're in the same corners. And they just say the next step of the the next step of the ceremony may begin.
I'm going to do an investigation of the table, see what we need to do.
Okay, give me a investigation check. Everyone else can give me one too if you would like.
A 15.
15.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
A
Okay.
2.
Okay. More or not Moros. Jockin and Wrath. You guys get the idea that these these 3 items, 4 if you count the box of tea that you have on you. You kind of deduce that these items need to be arranged in a certain order.
Can I do a history based on cultural background?
Yeah, give me a history check. I'll say give me a history check with advantage.
What's my advantage?
So roll it a second time
You
and you
just
take the higher of the two.
Yeah, roll twice and then you can choose the higher number.
They're both the same.
Okay, what you get?
14.
Okay, you growing up, you have probably attended at least 1 or 2 tea ceremonies, and based off of the items that you see, you imagine that how you would this is the order in which you would prepare the tea.
Okay.
So
I'm going to
there
go ahead
is
and.
you guys have a box of tea, a whisking bowl, a spirit ladle, and a set of cups.
What I would do is arrange the 3 things on the table in the order that I remember.
Okay, what order would that be? That's totally up to you. Whatever you think is right. And if anybody has any
Uh,
disagreements, you can speak up or
it would be the ladle,
okay.
the box of tea,
Okay.
the whisk, and the
Uh,
teacups.
okay. So you move those items into that order,
Yeah.
and as you look up, and there is a door with 4 torches on it instead of 3 this time. Uh, None of the torches come on. Oh, I'm sorry. You said ladle, tea, whisk, cups.
Yep.
The last light comes on.
Yeah. Uh, try changing it to box, bowl, ladle, cups.
Box, whisk, ladle, cups.
Yeah.
Okay. When you do that, the door, all 4 of the lanterns come on, and the door opens.
I pick up the box.
Oh, actually, wait. I'm sorry. I'm reading this incorrect. I passed over a spot. No. So all 4 of these torches come on, and instead of a door opening, the spirits speak up, and they're like, they say that you must prepare they're like, congratulations on receiving the correct order. Now you must prepare the tea. And when you look back over towards the table, there is a pot of like a little pot of boiling water. Alongside the other utensils that are still floating on the cushions.
Anybody want to prepare the tea?
I'll give it a shot.
So you dump this. Let's trying to read. Starting to get brain rot from doing this for so long. Getting used to
Now you
it.
know how I feel,
Yeah,
Jordan.
a little bit. um. Okay. So you pour the tea into the bowl, and as you grab the whisk and the bowl, what are you thinking about right now? Like, what are your what is Jockin feeling?
I am thinking of the caravan, the missing people, and trying to locate them.
Okay, give me an emotion that you feel, just a singular word.
Anticipation.
Anticipation. Okay. Um. So as you start whisking the tea into the water, or the tea powder, you realize as you open the box it's a tea powder. Um, as you start whisking it, the water starts to bubble a little bit, and it's not like a boil necessarily, but it's just like it's almost as if the bowl itself is reacting to your emotion, and it's like the water is almost like in anticipation now. And
I
then
don't.
as you move on to the next step, you grab the ladle and you as you dip it into the liquid, you notice that the liquid kind of like solidifies as you go to dip the ladle into it, and you have to like push a little bit, but as soon as it breaks through that top layer, it's like a just a normal liquid. And you go to pour the ladle out into the cup. I need you to make a sleight of hand or performance check.
A 24.
God damn, y'all are rolling crazy. Okay. So as you go to pour it, you quickly realize that as soon as you tip the ladle over, the water starts pouring upwards. But being quick with your hands, you quickly reach over and you grab one of the cups and you like flip it upside down to catch the tea. And then you quickly flip the cup back over and the liquid remains steady in the cup. And then you do this one time for each of you guys. And upon doing so, the four torches, at first they were lit with like a dim orangish color. They kind of lighten up with a brighter uh, flame. And you the door opens up, and as you guys start moving over towards the door, the four spirits move in front of the door with like a speed that no one could have seen coming. And they say the last step is the offering.
What would you, or what would you like us to offer?
They don't respond. But
I,
each of you holds a cup of tea.
I offered the tea to one of the spirits,
Okay, which spirit do you offer it to?
the one directly in front of me.
Uh,
They're in
okay,
corners.
well, no, they moved in front. They all moved in front of the
they did
door.
move, yeah.
There is. I'll remind you what they all look like. There is a young woman with cherry blossoms falling from her hair. There is an elderly man who radiates heat when you're nearby him. There's a child with maple leaf patterns on their skin, and there is a figure who seems to be made of snow and shadows.
Okay, what I would do is thinking about the trip up here, the cherry blossoms, offer it to the one with the cherry blossoms.
Okay. And she turns to you and she says, what fills, like as you go to hand her the cup, she asks you, what fills when emptied?
Can I
Wow.
answer?
I hate riddles. What fills when empty?
There's no specific answer, just giving everybody a heads up. It's not one of those very specific ones where you have to find a.
The heart.
Wow, that was actually the answer. Like, that was the answer I had written down, but I would have taken a couple things. Uh, as you say that, she almost like fades away, and all that's left are a couple cherry blossoms on the ground.
I'll give mine to. Let's do the child.
Okay. The child, as you hand them the cup, they say, "Where does the moon rest during the day?"
Uh, gonna give the smart ass answer and say the sky.
The kid, he kind of tilts his head to the side and looks at you with a confused look, and then he fades away. And the maple leaf patterns that were on his skin, as he fades, they almost seem to like burn off of his skin, as if they were like actual leaves on his skin that were burning away. And as soon as he is fully disappeared, you look down and there are like burnt, like half burnt leaves on the ground.
Okay, okay.
I'm gonna go over to the shadow and snow.
Okay. Um, as you hand her your bowl, um, give me 1 second. I gotta find the other one. She says, "I follow you all the time, and I copy your every move, but you can't touch me or catch me."
Shadow.
And with that, she fades away, and the snow, uh, as she fades, like first her head fades, and as it fades down, her like the rest of her body fades along with her. The snow slowly stops falling, and there's just a small pile of snow where she was. And then when the other three shadows disappear, the third one or the final one, the elderly man who radiates heat, he slowly turns towards you guys. He's like, "Wow, I'm surprised you guys made it this far, honestly." And you realize that it's the voice of John.
God damn it, John.
Like, oh, rather proud of you guys. And as he says that, he fades away, and he just like the last thing of him to fade is just his hand, and he's just giving you guys like a thumbs up.
I told you guys I hate puzzles.
No, you guys did really good.
What was my actual answer? Because I know I just gave a bullshit answer.
In the reflection of dawn?
Okay, fair.
So as you guys the final door that they blocked you guys from. As you guys enter this final room, it brings you to basically the exact copy of what the map is that we're looking at. And you notice that there is a couple people in this room. One of them being Yumi, and the others being the rest of the villagers. As you come into the room fully, there is the sound of music playing. Everybody seems to be having a really good time. And when you look at them, you kind of realize they have like a slight glaze over their eyes.
But we're able to walk through the room and do whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I would approach Yumi and I'm like, all right, Yumi, I know you're having a lot of fun here, but your dad's really worried about you.
Oh, but it's so pretty here.
Yes, it is very, and I look around the room. I'm like, pretty here, but gotta get you back to your dad so you can go see your brother. I'm sure you haven't seen your brother in a while, and I'm sure your mom is gonna be worried about you if you don't make it to your brother, right?
But you see, like she kind of like fully like hears you out for a second, because it seems like she kind of hasn't been listening and has been in her own world. And then she kind of like snaps back to it, and she's like, "Don't you hear the music though? The music is so nice."
Uh,
I'm going to investigate what she's saying. And I rolled an 8.
So what are you investigating?
What Yumi is saying.
She's just saying how much she loves it here. She's like, "Why would I want to leave? It's nice here."
That's what I want to investigate.
Uh,
Why is it so nice?
Looking around, there's nothing that really catches your eye that uh
can I cast Toll the Dead? Uh, not on anything in particular, but just to make a really loud noise.
um let me
If you need me to do it on something, I can do it on like a piece of furniture. I don't want to injure anybody, but
um yeah, go ahead. So you
okay.
cast Toll the Dead.
Yeah, seeing
Um
if that'll wake any of the people up from
yeah.
this.
You guys hear these like which sounds almost like church bells pierce pierce through the music that's playing through the room. And it kind of everyone kind of shakes their head for a second and is like, "What is going on? What was that?" And then a couple seconds later, they kind of just like zone back off. But if you want to give me a religion or arcana check, you might notice something more.
Maybe not.
Um, I will say that you, from your background and where you've come from, you've seen people under the effects of enchantments before,
hmm
but you don't know what or who or where this enchantment is coming from necessarily. You know
And
that
there's
she is definitely like enchanted right now.
yeah,
I was gonna
and
say
there's
I just
nothing.
go ahead.
You go.
I was gonna
No,
say
you go. You go.
I rolled a 20 on Arcana.
Okay. Um, do you? I'm trying to think how to describe this. Give me 1 second.
I think that's a better idea than what I was gonna do because I was gonna take my hood off and see if I could get her to pay attention because she ran off when she found out, where I came from and what our goddess is. So, or a queen is.
Um, I more. Oh, I'm trying to think I can describe this. Okay, so almost like what I explained to Moros. You can tell that there's definitely some kind of enchantment that that's affecting these people, but you can't necessarily pinpoint the source. But you can tell that through the actions of Moros casting Toll the Dead and the bells kind of snapping everybody out of it for a second, with a loud enough distraction or with enough persuasion, you might be able to free these people.
Let me see what. Oh, can I try persuasion of to Yumi?
Yeah.
Uh, they're conferring right with me with everything going on.
Yeah, if someone wants to help him or if you want to roll independently.
No, I'm saying above the table. They saying everything going on, and I'm noticing this as well, right?
Yeah, I imagine that they're relaying like what they're kind of picking up on to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I do the Toll the Dead and stuff, and I realize that the everybody's getting affected by like not hearing the music. What I'm like, we got to do something to get them to not hear the music or talk them out of it, like I was trying to do with Yumi.
Okay. I could talk to Yumi. 23.
Okay. What do you say to her to try to snap her out of this?
I persuade her not to listen to the music in the most persuasive way I can. I'd be like whispering in her ear, like I'm talking into like her dream state,
Okay, so you're like basically just like trying to talk to like
subconscious.
her subconscious is the word I'm trying to think of. Okay, so you explain to her, that this is all like an illusion almost. That she is under some sort of spell, and that her dad is extremely worried about her. And upon hearing like her dad being worried about her, she snaps out of it, and she takes like a huge gasp, and she's like, "Where am I?"
I'm gonna look directly at her. We need to get you back.
Where are we? Where's the caravan? Where's my dad? Is he
So
okay?
what? Your dad is fine. What happened was you started to hear some music. It sounds like, and you went to go find the source of the music. And we came and found you, and now we're here to take you back.
Okay. And she's like, you see her start like tearing up a little bit.
Yeah,
She's like,
I
I just want to.
immediately like pick her up, and I'm like, it's okay. We got you now.
I just, oh god, I just want to see my dad. That's all. I just want to see my dad.
Uh,
While Moros is talking with Yumi, I'm going through the rest of them and doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I imagine so as Moros is kind of calming her down. I imagine you and Wrath go through to the other people, kind of wake them up, talk some sense into them. They all come to, and they're all equally freaked the fuck out. Um, and then as you guys go to leave through the door that you came into, that led into this room,
Mm-hmm.
the door opens up and it just leads you outside. There's no other rooms.
uh, fucking bolt to this fucking
What I
back to
would do,
the
what I do
shit.
now is write a note and fire an arrow towards the caravan leader. Let him know that we found the missing people on our way back.
All right, cool, yeah. He gets the letter. He lets Kristoff know, and he sends a guard around to the other families and just letting them know that their families have been found, they're all safe. As you guys leave the village, uh, each of you get a different vision in your head. Moros, you get a vision of a massive earth elemental kaiju that's sleeping under the mountains. And that's all there is. You just see this giant, like, rocky, almost like Godzilla monster just curled up in a ball sleeping under the mountain. Wrath, you see other disruptions like this village incident popping up across the entire land. So you first like your vision is very it's like more images than the others, but it all happens in the same amount of time as everyone else's vision. So first there's like a flash of like an icy land and a spirit village just like starts appearing there. And then it cuts to like a forested jungle area, and the same thing happens there. Another spirit village appears, and then it cuts to like these great open plains, and you see it literally looks as if the planet itself is folding upon itself, and then when it opens back up, the picture is totally changed, and it's the spirit realm has completely enveloped the surrounding plains.
Well, those are good.
And uh Jesus Christ, my brain is turning off
Shotgun.
now. Yeah, Jockin, you get a vision of growing imbalance. You see humans and yokais or spirits. You see them like the tension growing between them, and you see like um you see a vision of a man like going down the street, and there's a tanuki, and there's a kid crying across from the tanuki, and the man instantly like comes over and starts like berating the tanuki and calling him like a piece of shit, and is like, I knew we couldn't trust any of you spirits. And as you guys are walking back to the caravan, you see all of these things, and the first person to meet you guys from the caravan is Goro with Kristoff next to him. And Goro's like, you guys made it. I'm don't mean this in a rude way, but I'm a little surprised.
Like I said, we're going in there and getting everybody back.
You did a fantastic job of that, he says, as like he limps forward with his cane in one hand. And he like his other hand was kind of like on Kristoff's like forearm as he was waiting with you guys, and he kind of pats him as he walks towards you guys. He's like, you young ones. The spirit world, it's like a pond. Still on top, but who knows what swims in the depths.
Nothing good.
Oh, you could say that again.
But it's fun.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Hopefully nothing too scary.
We did something that you said not to do.
Oh, what was that? He just like quizzically like looks at you, and he's like, well, you made it all back. That's what really matters. Well, I think unless you have anything else to do, Masashi would like to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Nope. I just make sure Yumi gets back to Kristoff and
Yeah, she as like soon as she's in like vision of her dad, she runs over and gives him like the biggest hug.
I'll walk over to the caravan leader.
Yeah, so as you guys approach him, he's like, "Well, you guys are... huh, I'm quite impressed. Everybody back, and it was only, he, like, pulls out a little, like, pocket watch almost. And he's like, only an hour. Wow." And you guys, you hear him say an hour, and you're like, "We've been gone for at least, like, 3."
Not even gonna question it. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go walk back to where all my stuff is.
Oh, wait, before you leave,
Hmm.
payment. Thank you guys for helping me out. If this, I don't know what this would have done to my business if this would have gotten out of control worse than it already had. Genuinely appreciate it. And he hands you each 50 gold. And he's like, if there's anything else I can get for you guys along our travel, be sure to let me know. I'm in your debt.
I'm just gonna look, nod, and continue on my way.
I go over to Kristoff and I give him 25 of my 50 gold. And I'm like,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm like, hey, here, take this. When you guys get to town, just make sure you give me something nice.
And he like he immediately pushes the money away. He's like, I appreciate it. I genuinely do, but we have we have a lot of money in this family, and he kind of like grabs onto a pouch that's on his hip and jingles it, and there is a lot of coinage in there.
Please, I insist.
No, I insist. I I'll make sure I have something special for you next time I see you. I'm sure we'll cross paths again. You've done
Uh,
me something that I could never repay. My daughter means more to me than I could put into words. Money, money is nothing compared to my daughter's life. And he turns and gives her a kiss on the head.
Kind of what I was thinking too, which is why I don't really need the money like that, so I was just trying to help you.
You might need it
But
on your
I
travels.
appreciate it. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
You never know, just in case.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to get you guys back together, and I'm sure, well, at least hopefully, the rest of the trip will be not as eventful.
I sure hope so. He kind of laughs. And then Jackin, as he's talking to Kristoff, Wrath is walking back to his cart. You look back towards the village. There is no village there anymore.
I will then go talk to the leader. Be like, so take him over to the path where we came from and show him.
Oh, wow. You guys must have done something good in there. Clears up this quickly. I've never seen that before. I'm gonna go talk to Gora about this. We should be on track to leave tomorrow morning. You guys go get some rest, and there's a couple. One of the merchants is like a baker. He's like, let the baker know any treat you guys want tonight's on me.
With that, I go back to my hiding spot.
Cool. With that, the rest of the caravan kind of convenes back around the bonfire. You hear some stories told from some of the people of what they remember from that place, although it seems like people's memories either don't match up with what you guys saw there, or they just don't remember anything. They're like, yeah, I woke up and then the heroes were there. And they like you see a couple times like a couple of the people point towards you guys in like a very like those are the heroes. They saved us.
Uh, we're not heroes. We just did what needed to be done.
And they're all like, "No, no, you guys are heroes." And some of the people who are traveling with instruments start playing songs and making up like super exaggerated tales of how much you guys are heroes and how you guys stormed into the city and slayed the demon and freed everybody so they could return back to the caravan.
Oh
And
boy.
you guys are all filled with this like like warm feeling of like, I did a good job. Like I don't need anything for it. I just know that I did the right thing. And with that, you guys all level up.
Yay.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Where's my
And with that,
level?
the camera kind of pans away from everybody at the bonfire, just
All except for one
having
person.
everybody having a good time except for Jackin, who's hiding over his tree, blended into the night, and Wrath, who's probably sitting on his cart, keeping to himself, but
Oh, he's sitting there just thinking, trying to put everything together and figure it out.
and yeah,
Yeah.
that's where we'll end the session. That literally lines up 7:30 perfectly.
Yep.
All right, so everybody that came out today to see the first episode of this, we want to thank you for coming out. It's gonna
Yeah.
be it's gonna be weekly, correct?
So I was thinking we're probably gonna do it bi-weekly, only so that gives me more time to prepare. Just because I
Okay.
want to be able to give you guys the best stuff that I can put out personally, and also because
Scheduling.
Moros he has his daughter every other weekend,
Okay,
so he's not
Yeah.
available on Saturdays every other week.
that
I
works.
got you.
All right, so once again, guys, thank y'all for coming out. Uh, we're gonna have more content like this coming out, as you heard, bi-weekly. So hopefully you enjoy, and see you next time.
Yeah, hope everybody enjoyed the story. Have a great one.